Trio.
That's right. And then there were 3.
Holding down the fort.
Yeah, our other 2 friends are enjoying some days off. They'll be back. But hey, before we go anywhere, can we talk about how nice yesterday was?
77 degrees.
Wow.
It really was very, very nice.
I feel like we've needed that day because it was way too hot, and then it was cold, and then yesterday was just.
Well, the rain the other. Yeah, the most of the day was great. The morning was kind of messy, but the afternoon perfect. We'll get to what's coming later in the week. We have some more rain headed our way. We'll look at that in a minute.
Here's hoping you enjoyed it.
Right?
One of the stories we're talking about, and this is actually a story they're talking about in a lot of places across the country, because a specific school district in Arizona enacting a pretty hardcore rule. And we've posed it as a question, should clear bags be mandatory at schools? Right now, 77% of you say no. Just imagine the costs that come along that as well.
This is not a stadium, it's a school.
This is a school. It's a high school in Arizona that have decided that you got to have bags like this, basically. And the thing is, they're not even allowing backpacks.
Wow.
It can't even be clear backpacks. It's going to be something like that, which is basically like a Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
Or something with handles like that. That's clear. And that's the only thing you're allowed to bring in.
I think one day, unfortunately, if it gets worse, that may be mandatory. But I can't imagine today. I mean, think of all you'd lose the money you pay for your backpack. You got to get rid of that.
Right.
And just I think there's a privacy part of the thing as well.
I see that point, but then I also see, because so many issues have been going on around high schools across the country, schools across the country, then maybe this could help ease some people who work at the schools' minds, maybe parents. I mean, I'm not sure. I can see both sides of it.
99% of those kids are not bringing weapons to school. I can't. I think that's penalizing kids for a rare thing. It still is rare. It's unfortunate it still happens, but I can't imagine. That's just. I mean, I think it's way too much at the moment.
Yeah.
And I feel like people say this, it's a statement too much with these things, but I do think it's true. Is that if somebody wants to get a weapon of some sort, they're going to do it. And whether or not there's clear bags involved or not, they're going to find a way to do it. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't do things to be safe and to ensure safety among the students, but I feel like this would be an easy way to get around.
Do we know what town that is out there?
I don't have it off the top of my head.
It's a small town, right?
Yeah, I don't have it off the top of my head.
It's interesting that
very strict, though.
You made a good point. At football games, I think different games, you have to take the clear bags. But Catherine Bishop made a good point. Has anyone considered that young girls need to carry personal sanitary supplies?
What I'm saying. There's a privacy part of this.
And may not want the entire school to know. So I definitely agree with that. Definitely, I don't know why that didn't come to mind, but definitely agree with that. Daniel Barrett said, "It is so sad in our day and age we even need to consider the subject." Alyssa Trosper says, no, just install metal detectors at the door. And then Jamie Miranda says, yes, I'm a girl, and I think he is saying the truth. So there you go.
Douglas High School, Douglas, Arizona, which is a very, very small town.
And we should say, because we know you're wondering about CMS. CMS does not have any policy like that. They're not planning on it that we know of. But we do know they've definitely stepped up security this year in light of things that happened last year at Butler. And other instances to where they have more metal detectors now, more wanding to make kids are safe. So
they're making efforts.
Schools across the country doing what they can to try to figure out how to keep kids safe.
Correct.
All right, switching gears now to something that's another tough topic. Another violent weekend here in the Queen City. The 4 shootings. You see the 4 scenes right there. 2 of them ended up being deadly this past weekend. One of them at the Bojangles there in South End, which was, by the way, the original Bojangles. And unfortunately, this is the second weekend in a row we've come on with that headline at the bottom of your screen. 4 shootings, 2 deadly in Charlotte. As you are well aware at this point, we're up to about 88 homicides so far this year.
Wow.
Outpacing recent years by quite a bit. On pace to break 100 in a year.
There's just so many weapons out there, and people can get, you can find them. As the kid said last year, Butler, he said he got his in the woods, which meant he went to the street to get it. I mean, they're so accessible, and there's just so many out there, and they're using handguns to resolve situations where maybe a discussion, or I mean, I hate to say even a fist fight, but that's the way it used to be resolved. Now they're taking a handgun out, and they're killing somebody with it.
And it's so unfortunate because there's so many families involved, so many people who, you know, this is not what they want to wake up to. And this is obviously not something that we want to report, but obviously, you know, it is happening. We can't turn a blind eye, and something obviously has to be done. But that's something everybody's been preaching for a long time.
Yeah, we talk about in the media, and also the police department talk about it too, not just here locally, but across the country, the difference between a random crime and something that's not random. And random crimes can be a little scarier just because they're unexpected and you can't predict them. But the thing is, police say these are not random. These are people who know each other in a lot of cases. These are people who are getting into arguments and not resolving their conflicts in a healthy manner. Which you talk to police and they tell you, make it all the more difficult to solve.
Yeah.
Because this is just interpersonal relationships and communications.
You can't go one-on-one with people and say, don't pull out a gun, we have an argument.
Yeah.
If you have a guy who's shooting people randomly, you know, across Charlotte, that's actually almost easier to solve for police because there are going to be people looking out for them.
Correct.
When it's just either domestic violence situation or just people who get in an argument, that's a lot more difficult to stop.
Once again, it's the accessibility of weapons.
Yeah.
You know, some are owned legally, others, many are just got illegally, and they have them handy. They get in an argument and they get violent, and instead of like a fight, they grab the gun, they shoot somebody. Sometimes not. I don't think realizing the impact of how serious this is and what it does to people and families.
Correct.
That guns kill. Guns kill.
Yeah.
We just need to somehow resolve that, and it's getting worse and worse.
It is getting worse.
Hopefully, hopefully we will not be talking about this one day.
Yeah.
Right now we are.
And we've talked about it several weeks now on Flashpoint, our political affairs show on the weekend. And the thing is, it goes against what is conventional wisdom in that usually the crime rate goes down when you have times of economic, prosperity, and it is in most of the country. Charlotte's a bit of an anomaly right now, which is strange.
I mean, you look at Chicago, some of the other major cities, how the violence up there. But now we're starting to, they're comparing us with cities like Chicago, where it's just one of the most violent cities in the world. But hopefully we can resolve this somehow.
Yeah. I
think conversation, education, letting people know the severity. When you take a gun and you shoot somebody, that's deadly. That's deadly force. That could cause serious injury or death. And I think some of these kids don't realize it. They see it on TV, they see it in the movies, and they see it on video games, unfortunately. And I think some people are just immune to the fact that this is the most violent type of crime that can be committed.
And it's not only going to change the life of the person who's you're targeting, but your life.
Yes.
Your family's life. I mean, the repercussions that stem from any of these, the 4 that we talked about this weekend, or the 4 before, or anyway.
Yeah, before you take that gun, realizing that you shoot somebody and you go to prison, that's not a pretty place.
No.
And I think that's maybe this situation where we start telling kids, showing kids, this is what happens when you're in prison.
Correct.
This is where you're going to be, and you don't want to live that kind of life. I can't imagine anybody that wants to be in prison. You take that gun, you shoot somebody. There you go.
We have a lot of people sounding off on Facebook. Daniel Barrett says, I wonder what can be done to slow down the murder rate in Charlotte. Someone way up the ladder in the city needs to figure out something. I feel Silvana Alfonso says that is what is wrong with people. They have lost the ability to communicate to solve a problem. Natasha Cross says people use the guns to kill. People have to pull the trigger for it to go off. People using guns kill. Daniel Barrett agreeing with you, saying education is right. A lot of people just saying, agreeing.
I think there should be a concentrated effort in our school systems to educate kids at a very young age. This is what happens when you use a gun, and that there are other ways to resolve situations.
That's the other thing.
Yeah, we all
conflict resolution, like that sort of thing needs.
We all have arguments, and there are situations where you're very upset, but grabbing a gun and firing that weapon, I mean that's disaster. That bullet kills, and that bullet aims. It's unfortunate. All right.
All right, we can lighten the mood a little bit now.
Yes.
Why don't we do that after 2 pretty heavy topics? What would you say, on average, how many days in the week? We'll start with the week. How many days a week do you feel really good?
Are you talking physically, mentally, both?
Yeah. You feel really on. You feel 100% how many days a week?
The problem with the schedule we're on is these hours.
Let's first talk about the hours.
These hours, because we have to get up so early. I mean, it's not saying woe is me, but it makes it really tough sometimes.
Yeah.
Because, we get to work, you're
hitting the ground running.
Yeah.
So, it's tough to feel great you know, sometimes it's the weekend
Yeah.
where you
Yeah.
can feel the best.
I was telling Carolyn last week that I feel like Tuesdays and Wednesdays are my hardest because I feel
Really?
like Monday I still have adrenaline going from the weekend. Like right now, I feel
Okay.
fine. And then it just hits me on Tuesday and Wednesday.
I would have to agree. Yeah.
So I would say, using that math, I would say usually I feel good. Probably I'd say 5 days a week. But a new study out where we're going with this. A new study says that we feel perfectly healthy only about 12 days a month. I'm on par to be about 8 days a month. So, or no, actually that would be just the reverse. Maybe it would be 20 days a month. Okay,
Yeah.
good. So, but if you take that and times that by 12, that's only 144 days a year you're feeling really good.
That's not good.
Yeah,
12 days a month?
I mean, there's, I think you have to factor in physical well-being, physical feeling, and mental. I mean, you can feel great physically and have mental issues. So you put the two together, that makes it very tough. I mean, people have all kinds of situations in their lives that they deal with. I think that weighs on it as well. And then the schedule, and when you're out in Charlotte, for example, what can make you feel bad? A lot of people, when they drive and get in this traffic,
right,
that can make you feel terrible.
It drives them crazy.
Luckily, we avoid that on the way in. There's very little traffic at all.
No
But
traffic.
for people who are out there on the 9 to 5 schedule, that would make me feel bad having to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember 3 years ago when I came back from my little accident situation.
A little accident.
And the management said, Larry, come in a couple days at 9 o'clock. I did that 2 days. I said, no way.
Absolutely.
I started getting here early again because that's terrible having to do that. That'll make you feel bad just thinking about it.
It's funny for you all at home. One thing we actually do miss out on that we don't have a full appreciation for is the morning commute.
Correct.
So while we talk about it and she does updates all morning long, we never actually have
I
to
never
sit
run
in
into
it.
that.
We never see it. So it's sort of an anomaly for us when we might leave after the show or something to go do something and you're like,
hello, what's going on? What is
where are all
this?
these people coming from?
Yeah.
It almost makes you mad. Like,
Right?
I come to work on 485, mostly on 485 and 77. There are mornings on 485 between Highway 74 and Interstate 77. There have been times there's only 0 on my side of the road, or 2 or 3 cars at the most.
Yeah.
So when you're out there and there's a lot of traffic, you go, what's going on around
What's going on?
Get out of here.
I'm over the Still Creek area, and then I just take Still Creek to West Boulevard to Billy Graham, and I hardly see cars. But then I was just talking to a producer last week, and she's like, Ruby, you need to do a story about the Still Creek traffic because it's driving me crazy. And I'm just like, what's Still Creek traffic? Because when I get up and about, it's not bad. So we'll look into that.
Keep in mind, we wake up at ungodly hours.
Yeah.
So.
Overall, I feel like I feel fine most weeks. I mean, I think when I toss and turn at night, that's when I'm kind of like groggy. But you have to put on the show. So
speaking of waking up, another story we did today about what constitutes the perfect morning for someone. Like what has to happen to be a perfect morning. And number 1 on the list is having a good cup of coffee.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Followed by a good breakfast.
Yes.
I actually skip on this shift. I usually don't have breakfast.
Really? I eat breakfast once I get home.
I eat breakfast at 3:30.
Even if it's lunchtime,
3:30 in the morning.
I'm eating breakfast.
That's right.
Yeah. I usually
breakfast.
have coffee and tea or something like that, but I usually skip it. Exercise, not happening on this shift. But
no.
I remember when I worked days, exercising in the morning at 6 a.m. was so nice because it got your day started, your blood pumping. It was so good.
I would prefer to do it after work.
Oh, I can't do anything after work. Meditation, which I think is great. And then we're partial to number 5.
Yes,
Watching the news.
Yes.
Watching the news.
Hashtag wake up CLT.
Please make that number 1.
I mentioned it earlier, but we're always so flattered and humbled when we hear from people about how we are part of their morning routine and how you get ready with us every single morning and you're putting the kids out the door with us every single morning. And
I'm really surprised. I was really shocked early on, a few years back, when people said, we watch at 4:30. I'm thinking,
4:30.
it's really good to know people up there.
It's early.
I think a lot of people love that exercise. It's a quiet time in the morning.
Yeah.
In advance of the day, get away from the kids for a while.
Quiet time with Ruby and Larry.
Yeah.
I still think that should be the name of the show.
Quiet time. Maybe we should work to change it.
Yeah.
We'll keep you posted.
In the meantime, you teased the forecast earlier.
Yes.
Yeah, here we go.
Let's see it.
There it is. Today will be, we are today. I mean, not quite as much sunshine. Tomorrow we've got the rain, and that's really more likely in the morning. some heavy rain, maybe even a couple of thunderstorms, and then cooling temperatures, cooling down to the 40s on Wednesday and Thursday morning. We're down to 42, and then Friday the clouds move in. Rain chance increases Friday and Saturday. I think Sunday the better day of this upcoming weekend.
I mean, it looks like a wet forecast, but I also know that we need it.
Yeah, it's been so dry.
Yeah.
All right, we have a shout out. Jamie Miranda, I saw your post. We hope that you have a wonderful birthday.
Jamie,
have a great day.
Happy
Yes.
birthday.
We had a viewer say it was her birthday. So shout out to you and your birthday.
All right, folks, thanks for waking up with us on this Monday morning. Here's hoping you have a great Monday. And when we see you back here tomorrow, we'll no longer be Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe how many people?
We might have 5 people tomorrow.
Might be 5 tomorrow.
The crew might be back tomorrow.
Or it might just be Ruby and no one else.
Hey, you never know.
She does everything else.
Okay, bye.